design sections. So if 2 sections had funding to be built or were built already, something in between those 2 would be a priority. Something connecting a center, like a downtown or a population center, and a trail would be a priority. And then we also just looked at, what was low-hanging fruit, like what could be done cheaply and easily and quickly. So I think, it's really up to you guys what you think, but open to suggestions.
Sounds good. Hi, Susan. Hi, Jack.
Hey there.
Hey, Susan. Jack.
Hey, Jack, we're in winter wonderland somewhere. You cooling off?
That's the Greenway Trail. I didn't get out yet this morning. I have to go after the meeting, so I needed some motivation to keep me from overheating.
Either that or you're really having severe climate change issues down there.
Really good central air at his home office.
All right. Looks like you're in the office, Rista.
I am. Yep. How about you?
We're still telecommuting and for the foreseeable future, at least through September.
Wow. Is that the whole department still?
Well, except there's some workers who still need to go in the office or out in the field, but the majority of us who do more desk jobs, let's say, we're telecommuting.
Wow.
So Erin, I'm sorry, what?
We've been in the office pretty much the whole time.
It sounded like municipal had been. I spoke to some other municipal people, and you guys were always on deck.
Yep.
So Erin, are you in your real office, or is that a picture of your office?
This is my virtual office.
Okay. I can tell because there's a little bit of a contrast, and I was like,
Yeah, I put that up because it's like it's my kid's playroom too that I'm
looking
from, so nobody needs to see that.
Yeah. Well, if I end up finally clearing my real desk off and get off the dining room table, I'll have to put up a background too.
Yeah, we have been going into the office like, once a week or so. And when no one's there, it's actually pretty nice,
It is.
Yeah.
We're only allowed to go in for real critical stuff. I haven't been in yet, but if people have to, but it's a whole sign-off process to let anybody in. So, sorry, Richard, I interrupted you, I think.
No, that's quite all right.
Richard, I can't remember if I met you before. I'm Susan Peterson. I'm with Connecticut DEP. Are you also with Naugatuck Regional?
Yeah, I'm with the COG.
Yeah.
I'm the Zoom master.
Oh.
Or Zoom Nazi, depending on your opinion.
You're critical person right now.
Yeah, so I'm hoping some people are going to show up. I sent out, this is the first time I sent out an Outlook invite along with, and I got a few tentatives, and very few people actually accepted the meeting.
Huh.
Jen Riley accepted it. And then I got a list of tentatives.
I was tentative, but I just accepted it. I wasn't sure if I could make it or not.
Well, if you want to give it a couple minutes, and if nobody else shows up, we will just postpone the discussion.
We could do that.
The dog days of summer and people are on vacation.
Yeah, it is tough.
And well, do people in your part of the state have power back? I mean, I know further west, like Danbury, they were really whacked.
Yeah, there's a few people up here who
There's Jen.
don't have power, but for the most part, a lot of people who were without got power back yesterday.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
You lose power?
I did not. I was lucky.
Oh, wow. We're out 4 days over here in Summers.
Yikes. Yeah, I don't know how I didn't lose power. Like everyone around me didn't have power. In my little block, we'd never lost it.
Wow.
Yeah, our neighborhood was lucky too.
Good.
So yeah, I mean, what I could do is reach out individually to each representative and each CEO with, you know, maybe we develop recommendations and do it that way. Because I don't think we're gonna have much of a discussion with two municipal reps here.
No. So the other thing is, I mean, do you think it's, if we postpone it till, not do another, wait another quarter, but postpone it till September when people are maybe back into regular routine? Maybe it's just August is hard.
Try that.
But maybe we do like a doodle pool and say, you know, can everybody attend? And if they can't, then we won't have another meeting. But I don't know. Because I think it's important for the municipalities to give us their priorities too.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I think, you know, what we ultimately want to do is be able to make a stronger argument for, you know, the sections that we think are really important. You know, right. I don't think that should, you know, eliminate some of the local priorities from consideration in some of these grants, though. So, like, I think our document needs to contain all of that.
Right. Regional priorities, local priorities.
Yeah.
Yeah. I agree.
So I don't know. I mean, while you and Jack are here, maybe you guys can, you know, help us think about the criteria that we're looking at to, you know, figure out whether or not they are a priority regionally.
Yep.
And Jack, you might have been getting on when I was explaining to Rista what I think we talked about last time was, you know, sections that either connect two open sections of trail or connect an open section with a, you know, designed and funded section, or sections that connect an open section with a center of population or a downtown. And then on sort of the other extreme is just sections that are easy to build. And there's not many of those, but there's a few of them that are sort of low-hanging fruit that, you know, we had on our list just because, you know, they could be an easy win.
I'd be leaning towards that because, you know, again, small victories add up. And when nothing, people don't see something happening, they lose interest.
Right.
I'm just pulling up your spreadsheet, Aaron.
So I can share my screen if everybody wants to see that.
I've got it up too.
Can you guys see the map and the spreadsheet side by side there?
Yeah.
Yeah, so we have made progress on some of the ones that were priorities last time around, but it doesn't look like anything actually got completed in the last 5 years. So I would assume that the ones that we had as priorities last time around should probably remain priorities. But we did add some stuff, and Mark and I had talked about, you know, what some additional priorities could be. Let's see. Look at this over here. So we added, so what was not on this list that wasn't on the list last time that's on the list now is all of the stuff from Torrington to Thomaston, which was part of the new routing study. So there was one section in there, and I think most of those sections are going to be difficult, either because there's opposition by the Corps, or they're just big, really expensive, difficult projects. But there's one of them, Bogue Road, or not Bogue Road, sorry. So Litchfield Harwinton 3, which is Campbell Hill Road to Wildcat Hill Road, is basically along Old Route 8. It's on a public road. It's very low volume, very low speed. And the suggestion in the routing study was to basically stripe it, add signage, and it would be a shared roadway. And it was really cheap. It was like $30,000 or something was the estimate. So I feel like that's a really easy thing to do. The town could even do it themselves. It'd be pretty easy to find funding for that, I think. So.
No, is that that's in Harwinton, right?
It's all in Harwinton, yep. They have not. They've seen the report, but the Northwest Hills COG hasn't voted on it. Hasn't endorsed it, and the towns haven't endorsed it yet either. So, that's a discussion to have with the town, I guess.
So is that something that we need to get done? Have you been talking to Rick? Is it just because they've not been meeting, or?
Yeah, the last I heard from Rick was he wanted to do it in person, and he'd let me know when they were going to have an in-person meeting, which I'm assuming they haven't had because I haven't heard from them.
Yeah.
But I'll give him a call. I was hoping he'd be on this call.
I'd be happy to go to that meeting with you.
Okay. Yeah, I would appreciate that. And then the other one that we're looking at is it's Seymour 1 on the spreadsheet. And it's basically, it would connect downtown Seymour to wait a minute. Yeah, Seymour 1. So downtown Seymour to Toby's Pond in Beacon Falls. The two towns put in a joint TA application for that section. And it's sort of difficult. It's going to be difficult. It's along the rail, so there's going to be a lot of, you're going to have to deal with DOT quite a bit. But, it seems like maybe, it might need a little bit of a push that being included in this document could provide.
And actually, good morning, everyone.
Morning.
I took this list and I compared it to what DOT is currently working on in some of the projects. And there's a project that's in Seymour in preliminary design right off of the Route 67. So it's like right. So it would be very close to where this section is that you're talking about. I don't know if that influences anything, but yeah, it's in the vicinity of the conceptual section.
Okay.
So if you wanted, I could put you in touch with a project manager on that, if that is something that you're wanting to link up with what they're doing. I don't know.
That would be great. If you could send me the project number and like a little.
Yeah, the project numbers, I can send it to you. That was the only one that I saw that DOT has anything going on that would be even near any of this stuff.
Yeah, that would be interesting to see what. So that is, so I guess all the TA projects are still under review at DOT because there isn't even a federal transportation bill yet. So that was on the list, and it was one of the priorities, that project. So, it really depends on, how DOT estimates costs and how much funding there actually is, whether or not it would be, above that threshold or below it. But, it's a good stretch, and it could be interesting. So those are the only two that we saw that, we thought maybe could be added to the previous priorities. We also had a discussion, last time we sort of listed sections as either tier 1 or tier 2, because we didn't want to, you know, say this is a priority and these are not priorities necessarily. You know, they're just, you know, different regional significances really. So, you know, we're really not sure if that's the right approach, or if you think we should call them top priorities or regional priorities, or, you know, how we should categorize them.
So one of the other criteria I think that we might want to consider is if the trail section is already in design. So I know for Torrington, we have, it's on your charts, Torrington 4 from Toro Fields to Bogue Road. You know, that would be a local priority for us because we already have it designed. And so, you know, if we get funding, it would probably be for that piece. And we actually have Torrington 1 is in design right now too, and that will be designed. But the pieces that are already designed or in design should be a priority because money's been spent on that portion of it. And now you're just looking for construction funds.
So the trail from downtown to the Sue Grossman Trail is in design?
Yeah.
Okay.
And
Go
ahead.
Yeah, no, we have 5 miles under design right now.
Okay, I will change that then. So that's miscategorized on the map.
And Aaron, what's going on in Waterbury?
So Waterbury, they're going out to bid, if they haven't already. So they went out to bid for their construction management on what they're calling Waterbury 1, but on this map it's Waterbury 4. So it's from basically from the Naugatuck line north to Eagle Street. So that will be, they might start construction this fall. That was the hope, but it might actually start in the spring. So that's under construction. The next section to get from Eagle Street to downtown was one of our priorities, and I think still should be, because it's, you know, it's basically linking downtown Waterbury to the trail. But it's a big, very expensive, very difficult section. So, you know, the original estimates were like $8.5 million for, you know, I think it's 2 miles maybe. Yeah, about 2.1 miles. There's a bunch of brownfields in the way. So, I mean, that's just you know, I don't know where the funding for that will come from, honestly. But I think, you know, I do think it should be a priority. And then the other 2 sections, they really, you know, they basically have the routing, and, you know, they're not really aggressively pursuing anything on those sections.
And how about Ansoni? I thought they were going to start building this year.
Yeah, I thought so as well. I know I think Sheila said they went out to bid for construction, right? So I don't know if that's been awarded or not. I can check in with her.
I haven't heard any more. I mean, I thought they were going to start construction this year, but again, I haven't heard any more at all.
Yeah, I know there was I think they got the funds obligated in time so that the money didn't get taken away from them. But yeah, and then they also have that other section they're doing a routing study on. So
I have another, when we're talking about like our priorities, and I know that we're talking about our trail section priorities right now, but should we also talk about, you know, other priorities that we have, like some of the sections that don't have any routing yet? You know, should those be a priority, you know, to do routing studies or to do design work on certain pieces? Like, do we need to identify those types of projects as priorities for any reason? Or is it just really, we're looking at what trail segments are for construction are priority?
yeah, I mean, that's a good question. I think, you know, the last document we, you know, identified in the narrative, we sort of identified where work was needed without necessarily calling it a priority. And I think that's what helped get us the funding for the Thomaston to Torrington routing study, because it was in there. You know, I referenced it in our grant applications. So, you know, we can handle it like that, or we can create a whole nother category of.
Well, and I think, you know, like, so some of the priorities that we have already done, you know, we did the universal signage, we've done, you know, different things that have helped, you know, link the Greenway together. So maybe we should have like other priorities, you know, and we can think about things, you know, are there sections that are open that maybe need repair? Like, you know, Derby, do you still need fencing? Do you need, you know, repairs or pieces like that? Are there other, you know, do we need volunteer groups? Do we, you know, are there other pieces, not just construction, but other priorities or work that needs to be done that we should put in there as something we want to consider for grant funding? And I think that's where the municipalities need to really tell us, you know, what else needs to be done and what else, you know, can help connect these trails and make them more popular and, you know, make them a priority for municipalities. Are they in the POCDs of all the towns? Are they all these things? And that might be more than we want to bite off at the moment, but.
Yeah, it's not a bad idea. I mean, we could definitely do a POCD review and see who already has it, and, you know.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, I think either way, it's doable, and, you know, we would take direction from you guys. You know, I don't know if that's a decision you guys want to make now. We can sort of work something up in a document and, you know, have that ready for the next meeting. Or, you know, I'm happy to do the legwork and reach out individually to each town and sort of have offline discussions about priorities. And maybe at the same time, encourage them to come to the meetings.
Okay.
It's kind of hard to set the priorities when, you know, we don't have great representation from the towns.
Right.
So, you know, it's kind of like we're saying what we think, but there could be people in the towns, especially the leadership, that are thinking something completely different.
Right, and that's why I was reluctant to sort of rework the previous document into an update with priorities, you know, that we think are priorities. You know, we want it to come from the committee, not from us necessarily. You know, we're happy to provide our thoughts, but.
You know, it's funny in a way that some of this is moved to the back burner in most towns, and yet from the trail census, all the trails are getting more use than ever. It's kind of crazy. You would think there's more of a push to get the stuff done.
Right.
Yeah, this is Susan. I'm kind of thinking along the same lines as Jack. I was actually referencing something that our commissioner had announced recently within the department. And it's about, again, because of the current situation and how people are really especially benefiting from outdoor activities now. And reading from a commissioner's update here, I don't know if this has been out in the press yet or not. I've just seen it internally, but I guess our department, Connecticut DEP, has begun a collaboration with Connecticut Department of Mental Health and Addiction Services to focus on mental health benefits of nature and outdoors. And I guess we're planning a series of events in our parks and forests and other deep areas. It's yoga, meditation, mindfulness exercises. It looks like we're partnering with an organization called Tovio, and they run peer-run nonprofit initiative that includes statewide classes, workshops, and a Center for Holistic Healing and Stress Management. So I guess activities will be streamed live and be available for viewing after the fact. We're also working on creating videos from our parks, forests, and wildlife management areas that people can enjoy from home. Then it says, we have some great ideas in the hopper, but if you have suggestions, please send them to, and then somebody inside. So it sounds like it's mostly focused on our state properties, but if there's things that people can think of that might be appropriate, I don't know if this is also a way to promote at least the open sections of the trail to get people out. I mean, as Jack said, people are already out there, but I wonder if there's another way to showcase it. I mean, I'm sure most people are using the trails just for, walking, biking, etc. But if there's a way to tie this in with this initiative, I could pass an idea along. Nothing's coming to mind at the moment, but it's all our open spaces in my mind, not just the state system. But anyway, something to think about. I mean, it's nice that we have this collaboration, so it might be something that we could benefit from too in some way.
Yeah, that sounds good. I mean, I think, right now, the mental health is, I think that's a great connection because there's so much of that going on right now. But, I kind of sent an email to Aaron and Jack earlier, but, the way right now too, with opening schools and transportation and people not really wanting to be packed in a public transportation system or getting kids on school buses, and how are we going to handle transportation? This is kind of right in line with safe routes to school, and how do we get to our downtown areas, and how do we get to our shopping areas, and it's recreation, it's mental health, it's transportation. There's all, I'm preaching to the choir on this call, I know, but I think for all the stress that COVID-19 has caused us all, there's some things that have come to light, and we realize, wow, we're so reliant on all these systems, and urban trails and greenways, are part of our transportation system, and a healthy part of our transportation system, and that's not impacted by pandemics. And maybe we should be looking at these a little bit more closely for, like, if there's COVID recovery funds or response funds that can help us with some of these pieces too. I think that's something we should look at.
Mm-hmm. I also participate, you might be aware, there's a Governor's Council on Climate Change, GC3, and then there's all these working groups under it, and DEEP is overseeing a lot of the GC3 activities. And within our department, we have the Working in Natural Lands Working Group, and it has 3 subgroups: forests, wetlands, rivers. And I was assigned to help with one of our fisheries, director actually, to assist. It's volunteer group. So the person who heads up, for example, the rivers group is Alicia Sherriman, who's the executive director of Rivers Alliance. And then it's other watershed groups from HVA to Nature Conservancy and so forth that are participating, and I and Peter Aristid from Fisheries are providing staff support. But so it's mostly talking about rivers in response to climate change and so forth. But one thing we're talking about is protecting river corridors, riparian buffers. So the other concept of greenways, besides the trail piece, but just the green spaces along river and how it's important for our resiliency going forward. And I just lost the thought I was gonna, it was tied into what you were saying, Rista, shoot. But well, it has to, I mean, like you just said, the resiliency, the other transportation routes and so forth. There's, oh, I know what it was. Part of the thought, as you just mentioned, Rista, if there's COVID recovery funds, I know there's some conversation going along, not only in our working group, but all the other working groups, and it covers a range of things, economics, transportation, et cetera, and resiliency, and maybe possibly being able to take advantage of funding that might possibly come through either the state or federal level to not only, build some of these projects, but provide jobs at the same time to people. So kind of a double benefit, building resiliency and providing jobs. But we'll see where that goes. Obviously, it's challenging times, but those are some of the things I'm hearing.
That's great. All right, so I think, so what I'm hearing is that I think our criteria from last time is still valid. Connecting sections, connecting downtown, sections in design, low hanging fruit are all of our criteria. And that we want to look at possibly other priorities or action steps that need to be done that aren't necessarily tied to construction, but if we need additional routing or if we need additional design work or on the open sections, if there's maintenance or anything that's needed, kind of identifying what those other priorities are. Aaron, you will reach out, you don't mind reaching out to the other municipalities and kind of starting that conversation and seeing, just getting their thoughts and seeing if they can attend to a meeting and kind of putting that down so we have a place to start from. I like the idea of having regional priorities and local priorities, you know, but we can call them whatever we want. And then the other, I just see Denise is on the call, but I didn't know if she had anything before from Litchfield.
Yeah, I'm listening in. You know, we do have a Litchfield Greenway nonprofit group that probably should be part of this conversation. Not that it's connected at all, but they have a lot of familiarity and how to move it along and fundraising efforts. The town of Litchfield has not given them any money actually per se for the project in years past. It's all been done by private donations. We've helped them with some material when they need it or some heavy equipment when they need it. But I'm not savvy enough or don't have experience doing this.
Yeah.
You know, I do like the idea. I know I've been sitting in on some EDC meetings and there are a few people that are concerned about, which I don't agree with, about it might attract, you know, problems, which I don't agree with that, but there is some sector of the community that thinks like that, like Greenway's, you know, foster, you know, congregation of trouble, which I don't agree with at all. So that maybe if you have some type of public forum to highlight the benefits of it so you can get buy-in from the communities, I think that would be really great and get people to know about it. I really didn't know much about it until Rick Lynn keyed me into this.
So Denise, Cleve has been attending our meetings on a fairly regular basis. So I know he's very supportive and into it. And he has also kind of given us the same summary that you just did, that there's some people that are opposed to it and some that are really for it. I think having you on this call is great, and having you part of these conversations is absolutely welcome, and we're happy that you can join and be part of anything that you want. And if there's anybody other than Cleve that you think should be a part of these calls, you're welcome to invite them and have them attend.
Yeah, definitely for the next call, we have some people that are on the Litchfield Greenway group that have more experience with this and know how to get the community behind it. You know, yeah. Cleve, as you know, he's a great fellow, but he doesn't have the experience, and I'm not sure he's the best salesman for it.
So I believe Clifford Cooper is on our email list.
Yes, Clifford's the president of the Greenway. Bertie Androulis-Meddy is the vice president. I'm sure she would be interested in being part of this, at least for the Litchfield Harrington section.
Okay.
I don't know how often do you normally meet?
Quarterly.
Quarterly, okay.
So, and we did, I just just to let you know, we did just get the hard copy Litchfield to Torrington to Thomaston routing study, and we're going to be bringing those out to town. So I'll be talking to Rick Lynn and see if we can get you your copy. And we discussed with Rick that we would present the project at the Northwest Hills COG, and then also in the individual towns if you guys want. And we can give all that background information as well if you'd like. So we're definitely happy to do that once it's safe to do so.
Right. Yeah, that's the kind of the kicker right now, is that we can't meet in person.
Right.
So I think, go ahead, Rick.
Yeah, and I was just saying, Denise, I know that I don't know that you were in office yet, but we did a economic development or an economic impact study on the benefits of the Greenway to the municipalities, and that's on the COG's website, right? It's still posted, right, Aaron?
Yeah.
And it really, I thought it was actually, the numbers were so high we didn't think they were believable. But they are. Good. They're real. It's was done in all the right ways, and just the impacts are great. And even to Litchfield, I know some of the argument was it doesn't connect to the center, so there's no benefits. But I think if you ever need that for any grant, or if you're talking to anybody, that's a great resource to kind of look at the benefits and how it would benefit Litchfield.
Yeah, no, yeah, you don't have to sell me on the greenways. I'm all for it. In fact, I think I had talked to Cleve about the fact that we have this municipal bus that we just got back from the Northwest Transit, and we're trying to use it as much as possible in Litchfield. And starting September, the exclusion for seniors only will be lifted, and it will be for adults. And that would be something that down the road, if there were people coming to the Greenway needed to ride up to the center or to anywhere, to a vineyard, to a distillery, to anything, we could coordinate that as a tourist
that's a great idea.
Attraction kind of. So I'm all for it.
Oh, wonderful.
This is Susan Peterson with Connecticut DEP. I'm in the Water Bureau in the Watersheds program. So part of my involvement with this project has to do with the Naugatuck River. I'm not in the recreation section of the agency, but I'm I deal more with water quality. So anyways, I'm really glad to hear everything you're saying. I actually grew up in Litchfield, and Cleve and Cliff have been wonderful. I think I may have gone to high school with your husband. Or
You did actually go to high school with my husband.
Greg was in my class. Yeah, I've been meaning to connect with you on that.
That's right.
Yeah.
I knew your name. Yeah, that's funny.
So I'm just I'm really excited that about your involvement with this. And having grown up in Litchfield, I live in Somers, Connecticut now. So sadly I'm not in Northwest Connecticut, even though it's nice over here. But since I actually left town and have been involved with the agency, I've just come to appreciate just how beautiful the Naugatuck Valley is. I mean, I had a different perspective growing up because I'm a kid from the 60s, so I saw the river turning different colors, and it'd just be so wonderful if we could get people down to the river from Litchfield and surrounding areas, because once people connect with the river, they want to protect it and protect the water quality. And then I'm having grown up in Litchfield, and known the stories over the years, I'm also quite aware of how there's that negative perception of the Naugatuck and danger and so forth. And it's something I think we have to work hard to dispel. And it also ties in what I was saying before about the rivers sub-work group that I'm working on with climate change, and then the whole racial equity issue that's going on right now. I've sat in on a couple of webinars and so forth, and I hate to say my own ignorance, but a lot of communities of color and other groups, minorities, have not felt safe coming out to recreate on trails because they feel threatened. And I think this could be an opportunity to help to dispel some of those issues. And I mean, it's a long-standing issue. It's not easy, but I think this trail goes through diverse communities. Like Torrington, for example, has become much more diverse since I was a kid, and going all the way down through the southern part of the valley. I think this trail also has an opportunity to connect our communities and help with racial equity issues and helping everybody who's on the trail to feel safe. So thank you, Denise. I'm really excited. And the other thing I was going to say, and Cleve and Cliff have been wonderful, and we really appreciate their participation in this committee. And if we could get Roberta on this committee, I know she's a ball of energy. She was a class or two behind me in school.
Yeah, she was actually my college roommate. That's how I got to her. We are all interconnected somehow.
Yeah, so that's great. So thank you so much. Really
Yeah, well,
appreciate
I'll get her on the next call for sure, next meeting. She is a ball of energy, and she has a lot of experience with the Greenway. So
That's
I think
wonderful.
she'd be helpful.
I know you have some great group. I'm a little less connected than I used to be, but I know there's some great folks in Litchfield who are working on stuff there. So that's wonderful. So thank you.
Yep. Yeah, just let me know what I can do to stay more involved.
Great, thanks, Denise.
What was that name again? I can.
Berta Androulis Medi. I could let me get her email for you. I can chat it in.
Roberta is her actual full name, but I guess.
Yeah, Roberta.
Yeah.
No, I just want to comment about the diversity thing. We don't collect any data. I don't think anybody collects any data about the use, but I can just tell you anecdotally, just about every time I'm out on the Greenway, in my mind as I'm going by, I do counts of how many people I see and how many minorities I see. And it's been like an explosion of diversity this year. I mean, it's incredible. There are days where I count Afro-American population of 25% on the Derby Greenway. That was unheard of a few years ago, and not intentionally one way or the other, but something is bringing a more diverse group to the trail, at least in Derby.
That's great, Jack.
All right. Let's see.
So I see Roy Kavanaugh just joined. Good morning, Roy. I think we're going to actually cut the meeting short because we haven't had a great turnout this time around. I don't know if Roy can even hear us.
Yeah. Roy, you're being a man of few words. We can't hear you at all. You have to unmute yourself if you want to talk to us. Oh. Looks like you're unmuted, Roy.
I have a quick question. On the chart, it shows construction and design costs. Do we have any data on how much money is actually being spent right now? I mean, those are the total costs, but how much is actually in play right now?
So those figures in there are the best available information I could find. So I could add those up for what's, what is currently obligated. Is that your question? Like
Yeah,
what?
Yeah, it's really obligated is what I was talking about.
We could figure that out. And just, I did some quick calculations for Arista yesterday based on this. So we basically overhauled the entire GIS data set that we had. So the way I calculated it, we have 44 miles of trail, of potential trail. And right now we're at about 12.5% complete that is open to the public. And if you count what we have currently active with construction funding that's going to be constructed in the next year or so, it's about 20% complete. So, we are making progress.
And just before we close, I just want to this was something that happened, the reason I needed those numbers, and it was kind of exciting. When we built the Naugatuck River Greenway down by Toro Field, we put the Greenway in, and kind of separated the fields from the river, and it was this really nice connection. And all of a sudden, this area sort of emerged where people were walking their dogs and kind of picnicking, and the city decided to make that our dog park. So now right along the trail, we have this couple acre dog park. We just had the ribbon cutting on Monday, and now so the mayor had asked me to say a few words about the Greenway and the connection to the dog park. And like, what a great complementary use. You know, you could take your dog for a walk, then you let them run a little bit and play. You know, your kids can be at the playing Little League, your dog can be playing, and it's just a really great area, and the Greenway kind of pulled it all together. So I just thought that was kind of a cool story.
That's neat, Rista.
That is cool.
Yeah. Anything else, Aaron, that we need to go over for today? I don't see anything on the agenda that needs to be.
I don't think so. I don't know. Someone just joined though. I don't know. Mark was going to join late. I think he had an update. Is that you, Mark, that just joined? Or,
Aaron, it's Roy.
Oh, it's
Aaron,
Roy.
it's Roy. My computer doesn't have a camera or a microphone, so I called in on the landline.
Good morning,
That
Roy.
was an option. Yeah,
I think we're actually going to end this a little bit early because
I guess
we
we
did
could
not
go
have
to
the
the
town by
gym.
town discussion that we're going to because we really didn't get the municipal
Normally not a lot, right?
representatives on.
Yep.
So
So Roy, unless you had anything, I don't want to cut you off as soon as you jump in. But, you know, for our next meeting, we'll be discussing municipal priorities.
and I'll be
Right,
reaching out to
just
you
one-
directly, Roy, about Watertown, and I'll do the same for all the other towns.
Okay, Aaron, just want to let you know that we have surveyed the Naugatuck River Greenway portion from Thomaston down the Frost Road Bridge.
Okay.
We have a profile of the water main, and the town engineer is working on identifying the critical areas for the water main, and we're trying to figure out how to protect it. Clarence Welty declined to participate in the project, so we're trying to handle it in-house. That's about all we have for the Naugatuck River Greenway.
Was that a matter of him being too busy or not wanting to touch this project?
He didn't want to touch it. It was too big for him. It would have tied up too much of his resources, he
Okay.
said.
Okay, thanks, Roy.
Okay. With that, I guess we will adjourn and try to look to reschedule, you know, this fall.
Nice job on getting all
Thank you. Stay healthy.
the information together.
Yeah, this is wonderful. Even though it was a short meeting, it was very helpful and very informative. So good to hear and see everybody.
Too.
Okay, so I'll be in touch with Jack and Rista about either a special meeting coming up or basically just rescheduling this discussion for the next scheduled meeting.
Sounds good.
Sounds good.
Have a great day.
Thanks,
Thank you.
everyone.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.